Welcome back to the Graham Stephan Show, and we have to address this. Credit card balances are rising, delinquencies are increasing, and with the cost of everyday items now just getting to an absurd amount, that brings us to today, where Trump now wants to cap credit card interest rates at 10%. This means there's going to be a huge impact across the entire credit card industry, which is why I want to comment on this video from Valuetainment as soon as you hit the like button and subscribe, because believe it or not, there are going to be some serious implications for everyone watching, and it's especially going to impact people, unfortunately, who are good with their credit cards. So with that said, hit the like button, subscribe. Also, big thank you to Cook Unity for sponsoring this video, but more on that later. Let's begin.
Trump floats 1 year 10% credit card interest rate cap, what that could mean for your money.
No, I want a cap on credit card interest rates because, you know, some of them are 28, almost 30%. And that the people don't know they're paying 30%. No way. We're putting a 1 year cap at 10%, and that's it. They know it. They've really abused the public. The credit card companies have totally abused it. I'm not going to let it happen.
Here's the thing though, objectively, Trump does not have the power on his own to force credit card companies to lower interest rates down to 10%. He could call on whatever he wants. He could call and say credit card companies shouldn't even be charging interest. They should be doing it for free. But you know what? Calling for something, it's not the same thing as going through Congress, getting something passed, and even though there's a lot of bipartisan support, the reality is, okay, I hate to say it, I'm the bearer of bad news here. You can't have credit cards charging you 10% for unsecured debts. Just the math ain't mathin'. It doesn't work like that. You can't go and just hand someone money and demand 10% with nothing in return beyond someone's word that they'll pay it back. It just doesn't work like that. So in reality, no, I don't think this is possible, but let's continue, because if it did go into effect, it is wild, the outcome that's going to happen from this.
61% of credit card holders with credit card balance have been in debt for at least 1 year, up from 53% late 2024, according to Bankrate survey. The average credit card interest rate in the U.S. fell to 23.79% in January, marking the lowest level since March of 2023. Mark, I'll come to you first. Thoughts on the story?
Thoughts on the story. It's just a lack of financial literacy, first of all, because most people are completely oblivious to what their credit card balance is. They have no idea how much they pay in interest. All they do is they go and charge the card, make the minimum balance, and think they're all hunky-dory, where behind the scenes, it's a dumpster fire. Ideally, credit cards should be used only putting expenses on the card, getting the cash back, getting the points, getting the rewards, and then paying it off in full by the time it's due. You should never have to pay any interest on a credit card ever if you do this correctly. And if you do have to pay interest, it should just be for an emergency only, where you need to spend the money, not because you want to go to Coachella and just have a great time. So I think it really comes down to most people just aren't aware of what they're doing, and the people that are, you know what, unfortunately, it's just they're digging themselves, a financial grave.
We have inflation that's raging. People can't afford to live. And at the end, what the leaders always try to do is try to appease the people by price fixing. So whether that's rent controls, Elizabeth Warren wants to cap the price of turkeys for Thanksgiving, or it's credit card rates. The problem with price controls is we have 1,000 cases of it not working. And just from philosophical level, you can understand why. So for example, credit cards, banks is a very competitive industry.
Yeah, look at rent control. All that did is they locked in the people who were lucky enough to rent a few decades ago. And when their rent has only increased a few percent based on prices in the 1980s, of course they love it. New people get in and they think, oh, well, you know, my uncle Jim, he's been paying at his place $900 a month right by the beach, thanks to rent control. But meanwhile, a new one's $5,000 a month, and they think, oh, well, if rent control were stronger, I'd be able to rent a place by the beach too for $800. No, it doesn't work like that. It just makes the value of everything else go up. And when you try to implement price controls and you try to restrict the free market, you just get these wild distortions where certain people benefit and other people end up paying for the people that benefit. That's just how it works. So in this event, if credit cards were to put a cap at 10%, guess what? Every single risky borrower automatically gets canned. They demand payoff notices. They're not going to let some schmo open up a credit card who doesn't have any credit history or maybe missed a late payment once. Half the people in the world would just never get a credit card.
It's already competitive. Credit card companies are already competing to bring the rates as low as possible. And what happens is if you cut the rate to 10% or 8% or 18%, whatever that number is, everybody that wouldn't qualify for that rate is then left without credit.
He is completely correct, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's popular right now to throw out these ludicrous ideas that in the real world never work, but they sound great. It's like telling everybody, hey guys, if I'm president, I'm going to make sure every car you could buy for $10,000. That's it. No car should cost more than $10,000. And that Lamborghini you want, yeah, that should also only be $10,000. And people sit there and they're like, oh, whoa, that's awesome. I want a Lambo for $10,000. It doesn't work like that. But you know what? It gets votes, it gets attention, people like it. And I've started to realize there's a big difference between like what's real and what'll actually work and versus just what's popular. And people prefer between the two. We have like the real solution here and then the popular sounding version here. Everyone goes for the popular sounding version. Like look at the Bilt credit card. And they were losing so much money because they were offering so much of a reward that people started to game the system and get one up on it. And they just couldn't float that sort of reward anymore. So they had to pivot. So that's what happens when you allow free market to do your thing, is that sometimes they just wind up losing a lot of money because people find how to take advantage of them.
Late 2021, early 2022, credit card companies reduced people's credit limits across the board because the economy was tough. And so they were handicapping the fact that, a lot of people are probably going to go for cash advances because money was tight, but they were going to have issues paying it back.
All right, look, when it comes to building wealth, the one thing that I noticed is that the people who build a lot of it are really good at one thing, and that would be consistency. Not just with investing, but also with their time, their effort, and their health. Because if you cut corners here, everything else is going to suffer long term. That's why I've been a huge proponent of using today's sponsor, Cook Unity. No joke, this solves a lot of problems that people overlook, which is eating healthy without spending a lot of time or a lot of money. Like instead of eating out, grabbing random food, and snacking along the day, I could pick from hundreds of chef-made meals that are delivered fresh. They've got options for every diet, and they're ready in as little as a few minutes. These meals are built with insane macros. I'm talking 30 grams of protein, balanced carbs, healthy fats, and everything is laid out clearly in the app so that there's no guesswork. From a value perspective, it's actually really hard to beat when you compare it to going to the grocery store, standing in line, cooking the food, or eating out at restaurants, which is a huge waste of money. Like, this is actually cheaper than what I order from a place like Chipotle, and this tastes, no joke, way better. For example, this one right here, which I love, is made by Chef Andre Mendez, and you can see it directly on the packaging. That's something I really appreciate. Like, I really start viewing this just as I do investing, which is just make it as easy as possible. As long as you stay consistent, you feel better, you work better, you make more money, everyone's happy. So if you want to save time, save money, cut back on waste, and get back in a routine with healthy food, I'd highly recommend checking out Cook Unity down below in the description, or by going to cookunity.com/Graham and use the code GRAHAM50 at checkout to get 50% off of your first order. I've said this before, but honestly at 50% off, it's an incredible deal. Like, I have no idea how they make money at these prices, so I'd highly recommend just do it, because one of these days the offer is going to expire, and you may as well just take advantage of it now, because I promise you're going to love it. I've liked every single meal that I've ever had. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do, because I hope they keep sponsoring these videos, because this is like my favorite sponsorship I've ever done, because they're awesome. So enjoy. Thank you so much. Now let's get back to the video.
So that wasn't the government telling them. That was all of us in the boardroom of Visa saying, hey, the lowest third is starting to take a lot of cash advances, guys. Should we lower? I mean, these people have a $25,000 limit. Should we lower it to 20? Just send out the notice, lower it right now. Yes, let's do it.
Here's another data point too. In 2020, I had something like 12 credit cards, an absurd amount. I would basically just open up credit cards, get the sign-up bonus, and then never use the credit card again. So I had all these cards that I just forgot to use. I just don't use them, okay? But what a lot of credit cards started to do is cancel the unused credit cards, because on their end, it was just seen as risk. It was like showing, okay, we have $100 million of revolving credit out there, and so our liability, theoretically, is $100 million if everyone just maxed out their card overnight. So instead of taking on $100 million of risk, we're gonna cut anyone who hasn't used their card in the last 2 years, and they're no longer gonna have access to that anymore. That's what happened to me. I had a few credit cards, just cancel because I forgot to use them. And so for the credit card companies, they take the risk from $100 million down to $60 million. That's great. Now, their worst case scenario is a lot less. People like me that just open up the credit card for nothing, like, I don't care. But imagine someone who opened up a credit card years ago for like a financial emergency, never used it because they've been so diligent, but then they have their credit card canceled because they never used it. That's the reality of what happens in situations like that.
The credit card companies are competing with each other. What's going to happen if you put the cap, it's just like COVID. They're going to lower the limits and people are going to turn to BNPL or other things. If one of them could get more customers by going to 19.99%, you'd see one of them do it tomorrow morning.
Here's the thing that you have to think about too, okay? The reason credit card interest rates are so high is because a small subset of the population opens up the credit cards, they rack up a whole bunch of debt, and they never pay it off. And then what do the credit cards do? They sell that debt to a third party for pennies on the dollar. So if someone owes $50,000, that might only be worth $500 on the secondary market to a debt collector. And so after a certain amount of time, they sell them off to debt collectors, they take the hit, but everyone else who pays their bill sees a higher interest rate because it's blended together. The people who pay their bill offset the people who don't pay their bill and then send it to collections. If we could all collectively agree, hey, we're going to pay the minimum credit card balance every single month, we're never going to fall behind, and we're always going to pay what we owe, interest rates could come down substantially if we all just did that at a bare minimum. No one would be paying 28% interest rate. But what happens, the people who don't pay get subsidized by the people who do. Also, I'm just going to be fair here and call myself out too. The people who get a lot of credit card rewards and pay no interest are also subsidized by the people who carry a balance, okay? So for full transparency, the best way to beat the system, don't carry a balance. And if you need to carry a balance, ideally just don't get a credit card. If it really comes to that, unless it's a worst case emergency. Never carry a credit card balance, ever.
Just thinking, it's as if they're sitting in a room saying, all right, this cost of living thing is becoming a problem.
Yeah.
Everybody's still talking about it. What's a bone that we could throw at the public and appease them a little bit and make them feel like we're doing something? And
It's just a popular talking point. That's all it is. It means nothing. It means nothing, and I don't think it's ever going to go into effect. And if it did, okay, if it did, it's going to be something like 18 to 22%. The credit card industry cannot survive with an interest rate of 10%. It just can't because of how many people go and charge up the card, don't pay it back.
For a socialist / communist to agree with a capitalist conservative on the 10%, this is where the independent in the middle will look at this and say, well, if both of these guys are on it, I'm willing to entertain it.
No, it's just dumb. It just doesn't work. It sounds nice. It just doesn't work at all. And I hate getting involved in politics. Really, I don't care. I don't care at all. It just seems like, hey, this is grease in the wheel for, midterm elections. Let's say what people want to hear. We're just going to try to swoop people off their feet and we win. That's to me what this comes off as.
So if you lower it to 10%, the banks are going to sit there and say, our profits got hit. And then they lend less. If they lend less, the small business owner takes a hit. Because who will they always lend to? They're always going to lend to the guy that doesn't need money. They're all, how much you need? $100 million, 50 years? Take it, whatever you want, right? Because they know that guy's going to pay the money back.
It's so true, by the way. The offers that I get to borrow money are insane right now. Insane. I'm getting offers, by the way, to borrow, floating interest rate, by the way, at 4.45%. 4.45%. So I could go and buy a house right now and pay interest only 4.45%. Or I could take advantage of what's called the box spread on my investment portfolio and borrow closer to 4% fixed for 2 years. Very true, though. The more you need the money, the higher the interest rate, because the people who need the money usually don't have as many means to pay the money back.
Net profits for Visa is 47 to 52%. MasterCard is 45%. Amex is 14 to 20%. So to me, are you flipping kidding me?
yeah.
They're printing money. Like every single year. I remember I bought Visa stock like 10 years ago, And all you had to do was keep it.
Here's the thing though, in fairness, having high profit margins is not illegal, and it's not something that should be taken into consideration as far as like what controls someone should be able to put on something. Like, it's not as though you could say, well, he has 80% profit margins and therefore it should be less, because no one should have 80% profit margins. That's bad. We need to take that out of the equation and look at, like, do they have a monopoly on the business? Are there effective ways that competitors could get in the business? Is this a healthy ecosystem? Things like this, not necessarily the profit margins.
Do you think this is a net good thing for low middle income families?
Does the product market need scrutiny? Yes. Does it need to maybe tighten some things up, plain talk disclosures and things like that? Sure, it can always benefit. Does it need the government to put a cap on how much profit it can make? No.
Yes, I agree with that completely. And if anyone is listening, here's my suggestion. To be able to go and apply for a credit card, I think people should take a basic test. And if you fail the test, you don't get access to the credit card. And the test should be talking about credit limits, what the interest rates are, whether or not you pay interest on a credit card, carrying a balance, things like that. Basic stuff that you and I should be able to know that most people don't. And if you fail the test, you don't get the credit card. But if you pass the test and you understand the implications that getting a credit card will have on your life, debt, paying it back, all these things, then you get the credit card and you are an adult and you can make your own decisions. And if you want to pay interest, by all means. But I think there needs to be just some sort of qualification, so to speak, to make sure you're of sound mind and have the basic level of knowledge to be able to use a credit card responsibly. Even just have them watch like a Dave Ramsey video. Just a 5-minute video before you get approved for the credit card. And then you click, saw this video, great video, I hit the like button, I subscribed, there you go. And now you get the credit card. But you know what you're walking into. Same thing, with cigarettes. They put the horrible images on the pack of the cigarettes, so you know what you're doing. With alcohol, a whole bunch of warnings on it. Put the warnings on a credit card too. Let people understand what they're getting into. Print it on the card. Are you sure you need to buy this? You want to buy this thing? All right, there you go, done.
What is the biggest crypto credit card? Is there a Bitcoin? Is there anything like that right now where it's a competitor of what a Visa and a MasterCard would be?
The Gemini credit card. I have a link for that down below in the description as well if you guys are interested in that. And also, speaking of that, Webull is offering a pretty unique bonus right now when you sign up and make a deposit. So if you're interested in that as well, they've been a really good platform for like buying and selling a whole bunch of stuff. I would highly recommend that. I've been using them since like 2017, believe it or not, and their research is phenomenal. So again, that is also down below in the description if you want as well. And you can enjoy that sign-up bonus when you make a deposit. Enjoy.
It's like, how do you lose money with this?
Yeah.
Market cap today, 650 billion. This is not a recommendation to you guys, but if some of you guys are conservative and you want something long-term, you almost have to go through this network.
So overall, here's what I have to say. Realistically, the 10%, it's a popular talking point. That's all it is. It's not going to happen. Don't waste your time thinking about it. If it did, it would devastate the entire credit market. Credit cards would scale back on the borrowers who they're worried about not paying back their debt because a portion of the people at the very bottom basically just charge off their balances. It goes to collections agencies. Credit cards never see that. And it's bad. So a lot of people are going to be cut. But realistically, again, I think we're going to see all of these wild points over the next few months purely just to gain talking points, purely just to gain a little popularity, win in the midterm elections, and that's the goal of this, okay? I don't see it actually going into effect, but it is something interesting to think about. But let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Again, I do my best to read as many comments as possible. Check out Cook Unity, by the way. I genuinely like them. In fact, I got a meal right now in the refrigerator. I'm about to eat it. So thank you so much. Enjoy them, and until next time.